need a mic? I like being on the same level, but I'll go up here. Hey guys, thank you so much. You guys like the show?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. Thanks. I'll just go one. I got plenty of time. I'll stay. I know it's really late, but I'll take as much time as you guys need. Thanks everybody for coming out. I really enjoyed it. It's something I wanted to do for a really long time, and I think the show lived up to expectations. And also, I think we did a lot of great things, and hopefully we can keep doing it. Keep doing great things every year here, and even from the show, continuously raising funds. So I'll just take questions until you guys are good. What do you guys have? Anybody?
Cody mentioned wanting to do the show again, maybe like December. Is that?
Yeah, I don't know about the time of year. We haven't picked an exact date, but yeah, we could definitely do it in a colder time of year. I mean, yeah, ideally it'd be really good. I think it was from the get-go. It was like this was kind of the initial picture before Kenny approached us with the opportunity to do what became Fighter Fest, was the show he did in collaboration with CEO, and then we put our kind of stamp on it. Yeah. We were looking to do this as kind of the event in between to kind of keep events going in between Double or Nothing and All Out, and I think we like some amazing things happen, and now we have really great stories going into All Out, really great action, and also we just served like really great matches. And to be honest, it was one of the first 3 shows I conceived because I really wanted to give back to the community, and the charitable aspect of the show was something I really felt serious about. It was ever since the Madden shootings at the Landing, which anybody who's been around Jacksonville and knows it, if you're a local person, you may know like downtown Jacksonville, that's very close to the stadium and our facilities, and where the team it spends a lot of time, and so it was a very personal thing, and that's why I was really happy that we could do something to give back after all the terrible things, and hopefully prevent all those terrible things. So I'm not sure exactly the date and time, but obviously, yeah, probably in the future maybe we'll pick a different month, but I think definitely come back. Yeah.
The last time you were here, it was during the rally, and now you're having an actual event here. So what does it mean to kind of bring this back, per se, home, and having your dad here and just having him back?
It was awesome. My mom came. My dad came to Double or Nothing, so that was pretty awesome. And he was at the rally, and he was at Double or Nothing. So he'd been at a show, but it was emotional. It was really cool. My mom came, and that was really nice. And she had a great time. And she said so, and they just left. And that meant a lot to me that they did that. So that was cool. Yeah, coming back here, it means everything. It's like a home game, and it meant a lot. And to have Doug and Calais and everybody, it really felt really special. And it was all the wrestlers were really cool about it too. They knew it meant a lot to me that we wanted to do this show, and it's something that I'd been serious about, like I said, from the get-go. But I also thought the guys delivered. Like, guys worked really hard and put really great matches out. And I hope it was a really good example of our product now, because obviously we're going into All Out August 31st at the Sears Center, and it's going to be, I think, a really big pay-per-view. I have really big expectations for it. But I think we set a bar really high with Double or Nothing. We set a bar high with Fighter, and then tonight I think we set a really high bar. And I wanted to do it here, and it really feels cool. Fighter was just down the road in Daytona, and then to do this here, it's been really nice to be home and to go back. And I've gone back and forth a couple times to London, but it's been nice to be home. When I'm doing the shows, it's been good to be here. So it means a lot. Thank you for asking.
October.
I want to get him before it's his bedtime.
You own now a major wrestling company, and you're the co-manager of a football team. How hard is it to own both of those at the exact same time?
It's really hard. I'm not technically I'm not the co-manager. I'm like the general manager, director of football at Fulham, and then I'm the senior vice president of analytics, and I'm an owner of all 3, AEW and Fulham and the Jaguars, and I have a lot of other businesses too. So it's really hard and really complicated. And a lot of times it's like one of those sitcoms where you're on 3 dates at the same time, and you're running out, and you've got people in one room, and you're going in. It's really hard, but I do my best to devote attention to it, and I do think I add value to all the companies, or I wouldn't be as involved day to day as I am. So even we did a major soccer transfer into the world of football. You probably know it as soccer. There's football. Here's the Jaguars. English football is Fulham, where I'm the director of football. So even today, I've gone back and forth and done a soccer transfer in England. So had negotiated that in between this and Fighter, and gone back before Fighter. And it was really something we've been working on since April. So you're the first person to interview me in person about this football transfer because of your question. But it's a very good question. It's really difficult, and every day is kind of a juggling act. But we'll take it as we go, and I think hopefully things will be good with both the teams, Fulham and the Jaguars, and I think AEW is off to a great start. I've seen you at the shows. You seem to be having a good time. I feel like we're past your bedtime here. What's your bedtime?
I stay up up pretty late. I don't really have a bedtime except for school days.
I understand that. I used to stay up late too. That's good. That's how I became this. That's how this all happened, because I stayed up late at night and watched wrestling and David Letterman and stuff past midnight. So that's good. Well, I'm glad we kept you up past midnight. It's good. It's something good came of it.
The look of the venue was incredible, and obviously something a little different for wrestling. Was this how you envisioned it, or was
Yeah,
it?
did you see I tweeted? I don't know if any of you guys, so you guys have all been in here, so you may not have seen, I tweeted about this. So I put out, I've got a photo, and when you see it, it'll kind of explain itself. Have you seen, who's seen the wrestling episode of South Park?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know the setting in the backyard, and you see the photo I tweeted, you'll see. Tonight it's amazing, but it was over a year ago I did a layout, and on Instagram I actually posted both. On Twitter I just posted the layout of tonight, the crowd, but I actually posted from over a year ago what I originally envisioned it like, just like with Daly's place in the South Park, and it looks like it's crazy. It was my because my thought is with an amphitheater, like the challenge is like where do you put the ring, how do you present to the crowd, and to me like what's great about it is like you put the ring in the pit, you open up so many possibilities for what you can do with the staging and create more not exactly a 360, but more of a round experience for an amphitheater. It opens up a lot of different venues, but obviously this is like our home venue, so I'm really happy with it. And but when you see the photo, I think it'll answer your question a little bit. And it was a fun thing, and it turned out really well, I think. And it's very different, but I think again we can use similar staging for television. I think it came off really well from what I saw on TV. Austin, what's up?
Tony, what's up, man? So you help run the Bohm FC.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you'll help run the Jaguars as well. And now you're All Elite Wrestling. In terms of contracts, what's the easiest negotiations to do? Is it soccer, football, or wrestling?
Well, I don't do the
And
Jaguar.
what's the
I'm not the
hardest?
GM of the Jags. So
But
firsthand,
but-
like Dave and Tom.
But
And,
you're still on that atmosphere.
Sure, I'm
So-
firsthand. The only ones I do are the undrafted free agents, which
Yeah.
I have a pretty good track record with.
So like, to do the contract, which is the easiest to deal with, which is the hardest to deal with?
I don't know what the hardest I would say. I mean, honestly, this was like a really unique thing because like it's like a Wild West market, right? Because it's you're pulling wrestlers from like all over the world, and that's kind of like English football too. You're pulling people from all over the world. It's very challenging. I would say that English football, like getting people and doing it is very challenging because people start very young. You're taking players that can be teenagers. I mean, we've played multiple players in games in high level at 16 years old, not just one, but multiple players that are really good. And so it's really challenging capturing that. I think it's a really good question. Yeah, it's great to see you here. It's cool being back in the stadium.
That's weird.
That's weird. Yeah.
Tony,
go ahead.
you go.
It's not
Sorry.
that often that a tag team match is the main event of a pay-per-view. It was awesome and it was different. Whose idea is it to have a match like that to be the main event?
I was in a group chat. We were talking about it in like our collective chat that we all talk. That's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of messages deep. And it was one of those things. And I can't remember if it was Cody or Matt or Nick, but somebody said it, and just that we do it. It might have been Cody, but the guys dreamed up. It was like perfect. And everyone is one of those things where like so often when one of us has an idea that's good, almost everyone's going to chime in and be like, yeah, that's a really good idea. We all bought into it right away. It was a great, perfect main event for this. It's like a feel-good match on a show where there was, Chris got some heat on Hangman, and then Hangman obviously got the comeback, but really a feel-good show in a lot of ways. I don't think we really crossed lines, or didn't intend to at least, and presented still like a really compelling show. It's just the goal is for TV, and I think it was like a pretty good run. It was very different from Fighter, very different show from Fighter, and a lot of people asked me specifically like what you might see like different from Fighter from our TV show, and I thought this show was probably more reminiscent of what you'll see on TNT, if that makes sense.
What did you think of the length of the show tonight? And what are the challenges it will present when you do TV, and that time restrictions will be tight?
That was really good. I mean, certainly like Cody said, with the heat and stuff, maybe you could have done one less match, but I felt like every match was really good. And there wasn't one match that I thought you wouldn't want to have, because I thought everybody delivered, and we told stories, and there were compelling reasons for there to be all these matches, either going into it or at least coming out. There were really compelling reasons, I think, for all these matches, and some of them you may not know yet, but we'll have compelling reasons that we did these matches. And I think I thought it was great. I really loved the show. I mean, my feel watching it was like, I thought it was a great length, but I understand if it's like a really hot show, maybe you wear people down, but I didn't feel that. I mean, I felt like people loved the main event. It was like, and certainly everybody was really excited and pumped down to the speech at the end. And I mean, the match is over, and still people, everybody couldn't get enough of what they were seeing, because everybody knew it was like a special moment, both the reconciliation of Cody and Dustin Rhodes and the Young Bucks, but also what was to come with the Czech celebration. And it was cool for me to get my dad out there. I was excited to do that, have Kenny go out with him, and Brandy. That was neat.
Any challenges?
October's not that far away. When do you guys plan on starting to announce what venues you're going to be running?
We'll
with
announce
tickets?
it won't be that long. I mean, it's coming, and we're working on it, and there'll be definitely an announcement soon. I would say, hopefully we've got a lot to do before All Out, but we've also got some time before All Out to build, the stories, build up the Chris Jericho Hangman title match, build up Kenny Omega versus John Moxley, and build up, Cody Rhodes versus Shawn Spears, and build up more of the big matches that we have planned. So I think, I would say, well before All Out, I can't give an exact date, but certainly before, it'll be before All Out, but we're really focusing on getting to All Out. And along the way, I'll definitely have more information.
Will the TV night announcement come before All Out too, or no?
Yeah, we'll definitely make an announcement before All Out of night and some dates and stuff, and it'll be really exciting. And hopefully announce what we're going to do. A really big debut show planned, and then after that, I'm really excited because I think there's been a void for a long time, and I think that the interest we've done and the business we're doing shows that there's a real genuine demand for our product, and that there is a demand for wrestling with these kind of production values and this caliber of wrestling, this kind of focus on wrestling, and just the mindset we have for it. And it's pretty cool. I think people questioned if there was enough audience to sustain a major league, high production value, second wrestling company nationally, weekly. I think we've shown there is. I don't think there's any question now. And made a big gamble, and I think it's going to pay off. So, but closer to All Out, I think you'll see more, which will be really exciting given what All Out represents historically and where we'll be going back to.
Tony, I was at JR's show last night. He was talking about how he was at the production meeting for the show tonight, and he was saying how it's so refreshing in regards to it being it was only under an hour. That's all we did is talk about how it went and how quick it was, and but people knew what they were doing and everything like that. Talk about a little bit how it's been having JR as a senior advisor, as well as just the process and how cohesive it's been.
It's very reassuring. I mean, Jim adds a lot of value. Is the voice of, first of all, first and foremost, the voice of wrestling, and how can you add more to the product than having the voice of wrestling as the announcer? And the announcing, when it's done well, can add so much to the product, and when it's not done well, it can detract a lot from the product. And for us, I think Jim adds a ton. Jim's awesome. And then as a senior advisor, Jim, that's great too, because he's a great shoulder to lean on, and he has great advice. And also after the shows, he gives great feedback. Obviously firsthand, he's in the production meetings, he's got a lot of great observations, had a lot of great ideas. But again, we don't have to be in there all night, because I think we're really well prepared. We have good notes going in, very well organized, and all the shows have really gone well. But I have to credit Jim, because he has a lot of wisdom, but he also has been really open to different stuff, different wrestlers, and has gone out of his way to learn a lot of wrestlers that he had never called matches for before. There's some guys through New Japan that he was very familiar with and did get to know, but there's a lot of wrestlers that Jim's really getting to know for the first time through these shows, and I think he's shining across the show, and I'm really happy with all the main cards we've done, and I think Jim's been fantastic on all of them. So I'm really happy with Jim, and I'm glad he enjoyed the production meeting.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
did.
That's great. It was a good meeting. It was a fun meeting.
Tony,
Again, he's got the early bedtime. I guess.
Are you ever gonna come to St. Louis for the Enterprise Center?
I love St. Louis. I would love to come to St. Louis. I grew up not that far from St. Louis in Champaign, Illinois. So most people in Champaign, Illinois are either a Cubs fan or a Cardinals fan, and there's some White Sox fans. So I'm not that far from St. Louis. It's a great town for sports, and it's definitely possible. I'd like to get there for sure. There's a great history of wrestling in St. Louis. Do you know about it? Do you know? Did you know who Sam Mushnick is?
No.
That's a guy you should read about. Someday with one of these pressers, I'll take you and teach you about Sam Mushnick. All right, it'll be fun. St. Louis is a great wrestling town. Absolutely, would love to do that. Thanks for asking.
Tony, how are you preparing for TV, and what's it going to be like during football season when you have the Jaguars playing, and you also have AEW?
It will not be competing with NFL. Will not be on a night where we'll ever have a game, which is great, and it will also not be on Mondays, which is a really big day for me in the NFL for preparation. It's funny because Austin played on defense literally for the Jaguars, so our former defensive coordinator was actually Austin's position coach at the time, Todd Wash. He's a defensive coordinator now, and I meet with him on a regular basis every week. And a lot of that work starts on Monday right after the previous game, and really get into the grind. I'll be able to at least get a really really good Monday in here, hit the production meeting on Tuesday, and I'm also going to be, I think like, you'll see, like, frankly, like, it's not a secret. Like, we're either going to be doing the show Tuesday or Wednesday, and I think people are going to get an announcement on where and when soon. But the fact we're doing like a weekly show on a night that doesn't compete with the NFL, that doesn't compete with, at that point, any other major national wrestling show, that allows the audience to like really experience like as much high budget, high profile, exciting wrestling as possible. Like, we're going to present that every week, I guarantee it. And so, like, yeah, it's going to be really hard maintaining the schedule. I get asked about it like every presser, but it's really hard. But again, like, I mean, we pulled. The Fulham fans are very, we've had. I was not happy when the club got relegated. It was every bit as miserable as it was exciting 1 year earlier when they got promoted, and it was certainly a far cry from where they were a few years over before I took over as a general manager. They finished 17th and 20th. And then I took over, we finished 6th and 3rd, and they got promoted 3rd. And this year, unfortunately, out of 20 teams in the Premier League, we finished 19th. It's very hard. Most teams that come up out of the championship actually do. 16 out of 27 playoff winners have been immediately relegated. It was really hard on me, and it was also at a very difficult time as we were kind of getting this going into Double or Nothing. But I was working in both places, and then actually in April, I started working on a transfer that we pulled off today, and was able to be in the production meeting last night, up this morning, and securing, like, which I think a really important piece of business for Fulham's future, and that's a good example. It's a light time for the Jaguars right now. It's going to absolutely, when TV gets going, it's going to be nuts. But I'm going to do my best, and I think we can do well in all places: AEW, Fulham, and the Jaguars, and all the other businesses I work at.
It seems like every wrestling owner in history has been an on-screen character. Are you giving thought to potentially doing that? Are you open to that if the story is right? Or are you like,
I don't think every wrestling owner and character has been. I mean, like, at least like
seems a
broadly,
bit
like, well, a
recently.
lot of times just like a broad babyface, like doing like what I had my dad do, bring the check out or whatever. Like, I mean, like, I wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't like Jim Crockett ever turned heel, or like, you don't have to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't think you can just be like, if my dad hadn't wanted to do the thing, I could have just as easily brought the check out, and I don't think I would have been like trying to be a character. We're just trying to do a nice thing for the city. It's our building. He owns the building that we were doing it in, so I thought it was cool. But I'm just glad he wanted to do it, because I didn't want to go out. I really don't have no desire to go out there. I'm happy sitting behind the curtain at that desk.
Is Dad the Jack Tunney of the company? He's the Jack Tunney of the
Is my
company.
dad the Jack Tunney?
Yeah.
No. We don't have and we don't need to have. I don't think we need to have that. And I think we book by committee, and I think that's good enough to know. And I don't think any like one person's agenda. I don't think it should ever be like a distracting thing. And I think we'll go out of our way not to make it ever feel like there's like an overpowering authority figure, because I think it's common sense, good wrestling. We'll do things that make sense by committee. And we have like not just the EVPs and stuff, but I think for like people involved in matches, we have a great team of coaches. We have Billy Gunn, we have Dean Malenko, we have Jerry Lynn, and like Billy Gunn, Dean Malenko, Jerry Lynn, those are guys on a championship committee, guys that like can be involved, and like and you could see that. But there's a lot of great voices in the room that offer a lot, and so yeah. But I it's a good question.
You've jumped into pro wrestling. Vince McMahon is jumping into football. What do you think of the XFL? And
I don't want to comment. I don't want to comment on other football leagues. I love the NFL. I love working in the NFL. It's been amazing. I've been here over 7 years, and since the beginning of 2012, since in Austin, right when Austin got into the league, actually, the previous owners actually drafted Austin, and Austin was there right when we took over for a couple years. And I love being here. It's a great experience for me. I don't think there's any other league in the world that competes with the National Football League in football. And but I love football. I love college football, and I love other leagues. So if there is another football league, like I will be following it. I will be scouting the players. I'll try. So but yeah, that's about it. I don't really want to comment on other leagues particularly. I wouldn't give you like a big rundown on the CFL either, or any other league, and not just to single those out, but any of the other many professional football leagues other than the NFL.